It's not just paintings, is it? I can now win prestigious art contests, craft songs that climb the music charts, and even ghostwrite novels that somehow land on bestseller lists. So, here's the really unsettling question none of us can comfortably dodge. If machines can outproduce, outspeed, and outprofit us with such alarming efficiency, is human creativity officially obsolete? Or are we, perhaps, just lining up to sell off the very last spark that makes us uniquely, wonderfully interesting? Section 1. The Human Cost, Jobs Dignity, and the Starving Artist 2.0. Let's kick things off with the gnawing anxiety that keeps countless freelance designers, illustrators, and writers awake at night. Algorithms like Midjourney, DALL-E, and Stable Diffusion aren't just parlor tricks anymore. They can generate a market-ready poster, a polished logo, or an entire children's book illustration for mere pennies. Think about that. Agencies that once budgeted hundreds, even thousands of dollars per commission are now simply paying a subscription fee and hitting generate until something clicks. The numbers, frankly, are terrifying. Goldman Sachs forecasts that a staggering 300 million full-time jobs could be automated in the next decade, and you bet creative roles are squarely in that crosshair, especially those in commercial and instrumental creative tasks like advertising and content generation. But here's the rub. Quantity isn't quality, is it? We've all seen the AI art with 7 fingers, clocks melting into oblivion, or characters with the emotional depth of a particularly dry resume. AI often remixes what already exists, a sophisticated collage of other people's ideas, rather than inventing something truly new, born from the raw joy, searing grief, or fiery rebellion that only humans feel. Human creators, you see, fold in cultural memory, lived experience, and genuine risk into their work. These are elements no training set, however vast, can truly capture. The real danger isn't that robots will paint better than us. It's that budget-slashing clients will just settle for good enough, flooding our markets with generic visuals, while talented humans, those with real passion and skill, are forced to abandon their craft altogether. So, the stakes here are so much bigger than just paychecks. When we normalize machine mediocrity, when we accept good enough as the standard, we risk flattening our entire visual culture into a single, averaged style. It becomes the creative equivalent of a bland, algorithm-curated Spotify playlist of imagery, where everything sounds vaguely the same. Creativity transforms from a mirror held up to humanity, reflecting our deepest truths and challenging our perceptions, into a mere spreadsheet optimization problem. We need to decide, and decide fast, whether we truly want art that provokes and challenges us, or just wallpaper generated by the yard. Because if creative diversity diminishes, we're all poorer for it, left with homogenized, repetitive styles that lack soul. Section 2. The legal chaos, copyright, consent, and the invisible heist. Now, let's talk about the legal side, and trust me, it's a mess. Copyright law, bless its heart, moves at the glacial speed of a courtroom stenographer transcribing testimony, while software moves at the blinding speed of code. Guess who's winning that race? Current US Copyright Office guidance is pretty blunt. Works produced solely by AI aren't eligible for protection. This leaves creators in a total Wild West, a chaotic landscape where ownership is murky at best and infringement is absolutely rampant. Who actually owns the rights to an AI-generated piece? The programmer? The user who typed the prompt? Or perhaps no one at all? But the bigger scandal, the real invisible heist, lives upstream, right in the training pipeline itself. To teach an algorithm a specific style, Developers feed it millions upon millions of images scraped from platforms like Pinterest, ArtStation, and countless personal portfolios, usually without a whisper of permission, not a cent of compensation, or even a simple notification. This practice raises serious ethical questions about intellectual property theft and fair compensation for original creators. Take the case of Greg Rutkowski, a Polish fantasy artist whose ethereal, dramatic brushwork became a default prompt for AI users. Overnight, search results for his name were buried under an avalanche of synthetic knockoffs, costing him visibility, commissions, and, crucially, his income. This isn't an isolated incident. The same story is playing out across illustration, photography, music, and journalism. The ethical principle here is pretty straightforward, isn't it? If you're using someone's labor, their unique style, their very essence, to build a profit engine, you absolutely owe them a seat at the revenue table. Transparency about AI's role in creation and clear attribution aren't just nice-to-haves. They're critical ethical demands if we want to maintain trust and protect creators' rights. Look, practical fixes exist. Concepts like opt-out datasets, digital watermarking, and do not train metadata are gaining some serious traction. The EU's groundbreaking AI Act draft, for example, already demands transparency reports listing copyrighted sources used in training data. But until global standards arrive, and legal frameworks really struggle to keep pace with AI's rapid development, the moral burden falls squarely on users and platform operators. So ask permission, credit your sources, and vote with your wallet for tools and platforms that license data ethically. Otherwise, we're passively endorsing what could become the largest art heist in history, cloaked, of course, in a shiny veneer of techno-optimism. Section 3. Redefining creativity, collaboration, or replacement. For centuries, we pictured creativity as this almost mythical lightning bolt, striking solitary geniuses in a flash of inspiration. AI, however, is forcing us to upgrade that metaphor into something far messier, something more like a chaotic but exhilarating jam session between carbon and silicon. Used thoughtfully, algorithms can genuinely amplify human imagination. Think about architects. They can feed sketches into generative models, explore dozens of iterations overnight, and then refine the most promising concept by hand, adding their human touch. Musicians can employ AI to summon chord progressions outside their habitual patterns, pushing them into fresh, unexpected harmonic territory. In these scenarios, the machine isn't the author. It's a powerful sparring partner, a muse even. The crucial ethical line here is agency. When a human curates the inputs, actively edits the outputs, and injects their unique intention, the work remains an authentic extension of a person. It's a tool in the hands of a master. But when we outsource the entire creative loop, just prompt, generate, upload, repeat, creativity collapses into something akin to a vending machine transaction. Over time, that vital creative muscle memory atrophies. Our individual taste narrows to whatever surfaces first, whatever the algorithm deems most popular or easiest. Reliance on AI in this way might fundamentally alter the creative process itself, reducing authentic self-expression and our engagement with the rich tapestry of reality, both of which are absolutely fundamental to human creativity. The evolving landscape demands a nuanced understanding that moves far beyond a simple binary of human versus AI creation. So, the remedy isn't total abstinence, it's robust literacy. Learn how these models actually work, interrogate their inherent biases, and, crucially, keep your own skills sharp enough to expertly steer the tool, not be steered by it. Think of AI like a powerful, high-performance motorcycle. It's exhilarating and empowering when the rider truly understands balance and control, but it can be catastrophic if you crank the throttle blindfolded. We desperately need education that fuses tech competence with critical thinking, so the next generation sees algorithms as extenders of possibility, powerful brushes in their hands, rather than passive substitutes for their own boundless imagination. CTA 1. Mid-video check. Alright, so where do you stand right now? Are you firmly on team collaboration, bracing for team replacement, or still feeling a bit undecided? Drop a quick comment below with your biggest worry, or even your greatest hope about AI in creative work. I'll be pinning the most thought-provoking takes and diving into them with a reply. Section 4. Hidden dangers, bias, deepfakes, and truth. Decay. Let's not forget the insidious ways bias sneaks in, often through the dataset's side door. If you train an image model predominantly on Hollywood movie posters, for instance, you'll inevitably get an overwhelmingly white, often over-sexualized vision of heroism. That's not just socially corrosive, perpetuating harmful stereotypes. It's also economically limiting because today's audiences, thankfully, span every color, gender, and body type under the sun. This perpetuation of biases affects fairness and diversity in creative outputs, creating a feedback loop of narrow representation. Worse still, that same generative power can now fabricate evidence with startling realism. A convincingly fake photo of a CEO resigning can swing stock prices in minutes, causing genuine economic harm. A synthetic recording of a politician can seed social unrest, leading to real-world consequences. Misinformation used to require a studio full of technicians, expensive equipment, and a lot of effort. Today, one bored teenager with open-source software and a few prompts can unleash chaos. The ethical imperative here is blindingly clear: transparency. Platforms must watermark AI output. Media outlets must verify sources before republishing anything, and each of us needs to cultivate a healthy, almost militant skepticism. Think of it as basic digital hygiene. Wash your hands before sharing, double source before believing a single thing, and actively support outlets that clearly label synthetic media. Otherwise, we risk drowning in a sea of synthetic sludge where reality itself becomes optional, and distinguishing fact from fiction becomes an exhausting, if not impossible, task. Section 5. Regulation and responsibility. Bridging the gap until law catches up. Lawmakers, bless their hearts, face a classic trap: over-regulate, and they risk smothering legitimate innovation. Under-regulate, and they effectively rubber-stamp exploitation. It's a tightrope walk. The smartest proposals so far seem to follow a risk-based approach. High-impact uses think facial recognition in policing, generative medical advice, or synthetic news anchors rightfully earn stricter oversight. Lower-stakes applications, like AI background music in podcasts, might have lighter regulations. The EU's AI Act, for example, is a pioneering effort to protect human authorship and ensure accountability, showing a path forward even as legal frameworks globally struggle to keep pace. Ethical reasoning in this rapidly evolving landscape serves as a vital bridge, guiding responsible AI use in creative industries until laws can finally catch up. But it's not just up to governments. Creators can accelerate reform by joining collectives that negotiate licensing deals, by actively contacting their representatives, and by simply refusing contracts that demand opaque AI usage. Tech firms, for their part, can earn immense goodwill by publishing training set provenance, by compensating artists fairly via royalty pools, and by offering simple, clear opt-out mechanisms for their data. And consumers, we hold the fastest, most powerful lever of all. Refuse to buy products built on stolen culture. Market pressure, after all, forced fashion brands to abandon sweatshops. That very same dynamic can absolutely clean up the AI industry. Artists whose works are used without permission deserve not only recognition, but also fair remuneration and clear disclosure when AI is involved in creation is non-negotiable for maintaining authenticity and ethical standards. Conclusion: where we go from here. So, will robots someday sign canvases in museums while buskers vanish from subway platforms? Probably not, if history is any guide. Every automation panic we've ever seen, from the printing press to photography to digital art, eventually, and often surprisingly, expanded the creative pie. But here's the crucial caveat. This particular cycle won't just sort itself out without deliberate, thoughtful choices from all of us. So what can you do? Support living artists with real checks, not just empty likes. Demand transparency from the tools you use. And critically, keep learning. Keep honing your skills so the algorithm never ever knows more about your craft than you do. And please, remember this: creativity isn't a zero-sum spreadsheet, a finite resource to be divided. It's an ongoing, vibrant conversation between what is and what could be. Machines can mimic patterns with incredible precision, but only humans truly know why a minor chord in a love song can break your heart, or why a simple smear of blue paint can feel exactly like a perfect summer vacation. Guard that irrational, stubbornly human spark, because once we surrender it, once we let it fade, the future becomes a very dull place indeed. If this conversation resonated, if it felt useful, please share it with just one friend who still thinks AI is merely a fancy filter. Hit that like button so the algorithm, yes, the irony isn't lost on me, shows it to more people, and subscribe for deeper dives on tech ethics that actually skip the jargon. Most important, keep creating, keep questioning, and I'll see you in the next video.